Jesus rise nation, pledge your allegiance.
We gonna run this town.
We live?
Yeah, right when you're blowing up the glove.
I think I got something on my lips too. Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully y'all can hear us. We don't have any technical difficulties this time. It may be a little more echoey because we are in the paint booth area. Great news, we have Ashley back.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm glad to be back. Thank you.
So if we have any problems like we did last week, just let us know. Yeah, glad to have her back. And we can take care of that. Is if you guys have any questions throughout the whole process of what we're doing today, she'll go ahead and relay any questions that you may have to me, and I'll do my best to be able to answer those questions as always. So also hashtag LiME into the comments. We'll spin the wheel a couple of times today. It'll be once again, we're gonna do some mystery prizes. You'll just have to wait to see what you get. So I feel like that's a fun thing to do. And then I get to kind of put them together once they're ready to go. Also, one more thing, any of the super chats that we're getting tonight should be automatically redirected, and you should see on YouTube that it's going to the Hurricane Fund in Florida. So yeah, so anything you want to donate as far as the super chat, it's 100% of those proceeds are going to go straight to helping those people, because I know a lot of them are actually we have a lot of Florida people here. You know, they're usually here every week. So hopefully,
Hopefully
all's good there.
Hopefully everybody's safe, and yeah, we just are sending so much love out to Florida. So scary and terrible.
Yeah, so you should see that on YouTube. Not on the Amazon platform because we do multi-stream. But anyways, yeah, any kind of super chats, much appreciated to help them out. Was there anything I wanted else? Oh, I want to touch on one more thing real quick before we get into the epoxy primer. Here is last week I did explain a little bit about the affiliate program that we have on the website. So if you go to limelinepaintsupply.com, you can go right there to the affiliate link. You go right at the top right affiliate link, put in your email. We'll look over your social media, stuff like that. If you get accepted, you get to use those links, and there's a 10% commission. But if you have any more questions on that, you can go ahead and either email us at info@limelinepaintsupply.com, or just simply go through there and register your email, and then there's a spot there to send us a message. So appreciate that too. Hey, also we want to do a shout out to, say the name?
Woody.
What's up, Woody? He made, I have it on backwards. Made this really awesome. This is actually my favorite hat right now. But yeah, super cool. It's like a totally 80s style, like embroider. I really like it. So I appreciate that. Yeah, totally is my favorite hat. But okay, cool. And then I think if they send stuff to us, we usually send something back. Isn't that right, Ash?
Yep. So I need you to email me your shirt size.
Yep, I think we already
and
have
your address. Oh,
just
maybe just send me both in case.
So yeah, if you all want to swap some merch,
we love to do that.
We like to do that. So just let us know. And cool. And we also have some other stuff too from him that was pretty awesome. I'm in love with the hat though, so well done.
Yeah, and then hopefully too, I'm working on in the next couple weeks. I probably we're going to start doing looking at long sleeve shirts, maybe some black ones and maybe white ones, and then I don't know what else, but for sure long sleeve shirts.
Yep, I think that's a great idea. Okay, cool. Well, we'll get right into it because we're all here for the paint, as always. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different kinds of primer that we have, epoxy primer and a high build primer surfacer. We'll end up using both of these on this project that we're working on today. If you want to get up to speed on this particular project, you can go back and rewatch the live that we did last week. Just go on the YouTube channel, Time Warp Custom Paint. You can go into the archive of lives right there and you'll be able to find the first episode of us prepping these Harley parts, getting them ready. We do have the tank and the rear fender here. The front fender is still at the sandblaster. That one will kind of, yeah, that'll be a little slower. We'll bring that one in towards the end. But I'll be able to build off other content about the epoxy and other stuff off of that fender. So it would have been nice if we had them all together, but the show must go on, as they say. And we're gonna go ahead and get these things done, get them sealed up, get them primed, and then we'll kind of go from there. But real quick, let me reposition the camera. Any questions that you have, let us know. All right. Okay, there's two different styles of primer. As you can see here is an epoxy primer, and we do have a high build primer surfacer. Both of them are direct to metal. This high build primer surfacer is direct to metal. You do have to watch because not all primer surfacers are meant to adhere to metal. This one is. However, high build primer surfacer really doesn't offer the protection of what epoxy primer can do. This really, it's meant to spray on lighter and seal up the metal of moisture and creating a nice smooth surface in order for paint to stick to that. It dries super hard. It sticks really well. I mean, hence the name epoxy in epoxy primer. This stuff sticks like crazy. So the adhesion properties of the epoxy, very, very good. The corrosion resistance, very, very good. This is if you are like restoring a frame, or like we're doing here, we're restoring these motorcycle parts. We're also working on a bare metal rear fender and now a bare metal front fender. So this is a great candidate to put epoxy primer on there, making these bulletproof, really sealing up that metal, and then having that surface to start up and work up from. After that, we'll go ahead, and there is some imperfections. Once it dries, there's some imperfections that we're going to put a little bit of body filler glaze over the top, sand that down, and then we will sandwich the epoxy with that little bit of body work with the high build primer surfacer over the top. We'll do that in the next episode. I'll kind of show you how we move from the epoxy into the high build primer. Now, the high build primer is different. It's meant to apply thicker, and it's meant to be able to be sanded and to smooth out imperfections. Small dents, stuff like that can sometimes be addressed and smoothed out with high build primer. But epoxy primer is different. You're not going to be able to do the same thing. This stuff dries so hard that you can scuff it up, yes, but it's not going to sand, smooth, and get those imperfections out. That's really where the high build primer comes in. So hopefully that answers a lot of you guys' questions about epoxy primer, high build primer surfacer. That's what they do. And both of them are mixed part A, part B. They're chemically hardened. So there is a pot life to these. Once you mix them up, I think you have a few hours, it says on the back, with the sealer. I think you have even less with high build primer. I think that dries a little faster. I think you actually have like 6 hours with this once it's mixed up. Hopefully we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't get him. I'm showing we're back on right here. So
Couple questions. Someone said, is it wet to wet? Wet on the base sand. I think I can't read it.
Yes, you can go wet on the epoxy sealer. Um, how there is a time limit there to be able to do that. Keep in mind that your parts need to be perfect when you do that wet on wet. There's no going back with the primer surfacer. You really wouldn't do wet on wet with the primer surfacer. You really would just let it dry. I suppose you could. However, being two parts, I don't think I would really mess with that. Let it dry, scuff it down, put down the high build primer. Okay, we're gonna put this off to the side. We'll use that next week. You might just have to reset yours.
I know. It won't let me on there.
Just keep messing with it. He might be good at it. Still nothing over there. I think we're still working over here. Share password.
Yeah, for me.
I got you. Okay, so with this mixture, we're going to do 1-to-1. So one part of the primer with one part of the activator. That mixed up a little more. There we go. Do a little bit more. There we go.
Someone said, what's the difference between epoxy primer and a rattle can and yours?
Epoxy primer in a rattle can is not going to be a 2-part. It's going to be a 1K epoxy, which I didn't even know that was really a thing. But since this is a 2-part, it's going to chemically harden. It's what you need to use. If you don't want to use any kind of 1-part, especially with primers, because that's the base of your whole paint job, really. Okay, what did I go to? A little over the 9 ounces. We're gonna go up to the 18 ounces.
Epoxy, is there a induction time?
No, I don't think there is any induction time on this one.
Is it necessary to apply sealer after you sand your filler primer?
I'm sorry, say that one again.
Is it necessary to apply sealer after you sand your filler primer?
No, it is not. No, if you you would just you can go straight to the sandable primers on doing that point. Okay, so up to so we have 9, so double that would be 18.
Is the adhesion promoter available yet?
Hopefully that'll be very soon. I'm still taking photos and videos of that. It's taking me a little bit longer than I thought. We do have that masking tape that's out. And but yeah, look for those coming up soon. We're gonna have both that and the spray gun paint remover as well to clean your paint guns. That'll also be available.
Swampy says the line primer surfacer works very well directly to fiberglass.
Oh yes, yep, for sure. Yep, just make sure it's scuffed up and clean. All right, we have if I remember right, we have 6 hours with this. I probably should have mixed this up once those parts were ready. But good thing that it's epoxy. It takes a little bit longer for that dry. If it was the high build primer, it would be starting to dry by the time we sprayed it, because we still need to clean these parts up. I am doing this a little bit backwards.
Someone said, hey guys, thanks for all you do for us newbies. Question, I'm looking to do a high flake silver job with black and silver candy over each other. Do I need to separate colors with the clear?
No, not necessarily. You just have to basically just mask it off. Mask off those parts. You don't have to clear it between, but you can.
What
Hopefully,
about
hopefully
the
it's
car rep epoxy?
car rep. I don't know. I don't know about that. That 2K in a can. That's not really a 2K.
Can you
Theory of that?
Can you mix the K2 primer with activator or catalyst?
Yes, that's what it is. If it's a 2K primer, it needs to mix with a catalyst. So it'll be part A, part B. So no matter what, there will be a part A, part B. Okay, panel prep. So as you know, we cleaned these up last week. We sanded these down. We got rid of the logos on the side. We still have some damage. One of these right here in the tank. The front fender we did have spray paint on it, so we took that down to the sandblaster. They're getting that blasted right now. But for now, we're going to get these cleaned up with some panel prep, wax and grease remover. We've already sprayed these a couple of times, but it never hurts to do it a few more times too, because they've been sitting around the shop. Always better be safe than sorry. Same thing with the inside of the tank, the underneath. Spray it. This will get all the contaminants, like if there's any kind of grease or wax or pretty much any kind of wax and grease remover. It does exactly what its name is. Pretty self-explanatory.
What kind of guns do you use for priming and for painting?
So for priming, I just use the same style of gun that I do for my base coat. So I usually just use a 1.3 or 1.4. I'll use that same gun for my base coat and my clear. You just have to make sure you clean your stuff really good. You can use the same gun all the way through. Like having the spray gun cleaner, I'll kind of show that a little bit later once we do have to clean the gun. Having this, making sure it's blasted out and clean. There's no reason why you just can't use one gun all the way through.
What do you think about epoxy primer over a cement statue?
The epoxy primer would be your best bet over any other primer, because really it does stick to most anything. So I would say if you can, maybe try it in a little spot and see if it works. See if it adheres. Put some duct tape on it after it's dry, pull on it and see how it does, and then go from there. But if you can always test something before actually doing the whole thing, that would be the best case scenario.
Dave said, I was impressed with how strong that prep actually is. I had a whole bunch of tape residue left behind one single swipe and it was gone.
Nice. Yeah. I think I need to grab a little bit of fatter tape. Let me see. Maybe I have something. I'll be right back. Okay, we'll grab some. We have 1.5 inch masking tape. These particular fuel bungs, they're a little tricky because there's not a lip in there to tape to. So you pretty much just have to back mask on the inside so it has a soft edge right there. Just little strips at a time, just kind of putting them down in there.
Are those Seda paint guns?
No, these are all LiME guns right here. I do have a status somewhere though.
Someone said, did he take the extreme stairs? Always.
It's the only way up unless I want to take the elevator.
Are you able to buy the paint gun cleaner and prep by the case?
Yes, we will make that available on the website, Buy It by the Case. Okay, we got the first one done. Let's see, is there anything else I need to tape off? Oh, right here.
Can't see. Oh, there you go.
Right there. Gotta tape that guy off too. We'll just take a little strip. That big. Put a little flag on it. Okay, let's set this up in the booth, hang it up, and then I'll come back and clean up these other ones. Okay, same thing here. Wax and grease remover. Yeah, this stuff is super strong. It'll take your breath away. There we go. At the same time, once you're cleaning it, you can also check it to make sure that you got all your edges scuffed up. I kind of looked these over earlier, so I didn't have to do it while we were live, so they looked really good. But when I clean them, that's when you kind of have to touch up a little bit of areas that are kind of a little tricky to get, little crevices here and there that still have a little bit of a shine to it, because it needs to be scuffed up in order for the paint to stick. So it's very, very important. You can't leave the gloss clear coat and expect the paint to stick to it.
Someone asked, that is painted on pinstripe, right?
Yes, it is. Yep. Good question, because if that was a regular pinstripe that wasn't painted on, you would want to sand that completely out. Any kind of decals need to be sanded completely out, kind of like what we had on the side here. Yes, that is a painted pinstripe.
Jake said, my guys at work always says Jake's grumpy on Friday because he stays up late watching this YouTube guy. Laugh out loud.
I appreciate that.
No, don't be grumpy though. Make sure you get a big old pumpkin spice before you go to work. You won't be grumpy.
So we do have where the petcock is right here.
Tara said, I figured out real quick today to have my respirator on when I open the pouch of crushed glass. You don't want to breathe that. Yeah, that stuff is, yeah.
That gets everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's insane.
Okay, this one already has I don't want to say it, a rubber on it. So we're good there. Push this a little bit on there more.
Somebody said, I followed that prep with spray away. Is that cool?
All spray away? No, spray away is not going to do what this is doing. This is a wax and grease remover. Spray away is a glass cleaner. It'll get rid of and we'll clean these with glass cleaner, but I'll do it while it's in the booth and hung up.
Have you ever done any porcelain inlays? Also trying to wrap my mind around to do a denim wrap tank and silver leafing.
Huh.
Whoa.
Haven't never done that.
We've seen the porcelain inlays though. They're cool.
Have we? Where?
Isn't that with like the glass that has something in it that you showed me? Like a rose or something. Remember you showed me that?
Where were we at? Do you remember? Pittsburgh?
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
I think I know
Was it
what
Glory
you're
Days?
talking about.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's where we were.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff there. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I think I know what you're talking about. Once again, that'll create a soft edge for the paint to go around. And then we want to make sure that we tape up so no paint actually gets in the tank, obviously. So take that up there. Okay, cool. We took all the bungs out right here earlier. You don't, if there's little rubbers that come in there, you don't want to just paint right over those. Take a screwdriver, get them out. But we're looking good here. A little bit of sanding residue in here. Oh, and a little bit right here I missed. You can see, like, let me show you guys. See how it's just really easy to miss these areas just because there's a weld right there. So paint epoxy would most likely stick to this because what it is, it's epoxy. But base coats, clear coats, it won't stick to this. It just won't do it. So you need to go back and make sure you look it over and you just stuff it up a little more.
And you will spray the epoxy primer without the curlicues?
Without the curlicues? I'm sorry, what was that?
And you're going to spray the epoxy primer without the curlicues,
No,
right?
right over the curlicues. Right over the curlicues. And it's no big deal. And the nice thing about epoxy sealer, it'll hold out really good because what happens if you were just to spray a 1K primer over this, not a 2-part, part A and part B that mix together. These little curlicues that they're talking about, like right here, little sanding marks caused by the DA sander. If it's a 1-part primer, what can happen is solvents can go in there. After the solvents over the top can get in there and they can disturb that a little bit, and that primer can shift, shrink back, do weird things like that because it's not chemically hardened. And those marks could come back because imagine if it's shifting and moving around, it's going to take on the shape of what it's on again, which is curlicues. If you have a 2-part, it's going to seal it up. It's dry. It's not moving. Chemicals aren't bothering it because after it dries, it's going to rely on us scuffing it down again. So the next layer has that scratch to grab onto. Hopefully that makes sense. But great question. I mean, you got into maybe a lot of people didn't know what curlicues were before that was, but yeah, that'll take care of all that. That's what's great about epoxy.
Someone said, I love limelight gold leaf size, beats the Texas humidity.
Cool.
And then the person said, well, are you sure?
Yeah.
The person said, followed by the spray away, not instead of.
Oh.
So they said they just want to make sure it's extra clean. Is that okay to do
yes, that? 100%. Yep. That's going to take care of any water-based contaminant. That's exactly what you want to do. I just have some stuff I mixed up from concentrate glass cleaner here, and that's what I'm going to use. But spray away works great for that. Not instead of, but also to do that. All right, so this has also been cleaned a couple of times. These brand new fenders, they always come with like a packing grease on them or an oily packing oil on them to prevent them from rusting. So we need to make sure that they're good and clean.
Someone said, do you use airbrushes? And if so, what kind do you use?
Right now I'm just using a Harbor Freight Avante. It's what I like. I can do pretty much anything with that. You could also Iwata Eclipse would be a good middle of the road airbrush. If you're looking to spend a little bit of money, you want something a little bit nicer, Iwata Eclipse is where it's at. If you want to keep it a little more budget friendly, Iwata Neo. If you really want to keep it budget friendly but still can get the job done, there is the Avante at Harbor Freight you can buy. Gravity fed though is what you want.
Someone said respirator, Adam. We already had this conversation. Before we started this, I told him I'm not going to help if he doesn't wear his respirator. I'm going to go back in the house.
Gotta talk.
I told him
y'all gotta be able to hear what's coming out of my mouth. Be like Charlie Brown talking over the intercom.
No.
Okay, so we don't want to forget about the underneath of this thing. Spray that real good. We also scuffed down the bottom of this with the scuff pad as well. Was it necessary? I don't know. Probably didn't need to. But every little bit helps for sure. Okay. We obviously need to hang this one up too because we can't just not spray the underneath. The whole thing needs to be coated. So what I'll do is I'll grab I have some baling wire that's hooked to the top of the booth there. So I'll just grab a washer or a bolt that I can kind of pin up in there. That way we don't have to set it on anything and I can paint the whole thing.
Could you use the red Scotch-Brite pad to do the shiny spot out?
Yep, you could. Yeah, that works great.
Ben said, well, that would be Charlie Brown's parents, Adam.
Let's see.
On the intercom, because they're in school.
Oh, it's their parents? Okay, I gotcha. Gotcha.
Adam, in your review of the Trigger Style Black Widow, you thought that it would spray the clear coat okay with the other Black Widow 05 Sling, your Glamour clear coat as well, you think?
No, not very good. I mean, it depends on what you're spraying, but it has to be a really small part. If you're doing like a model or something, yes, maybe. You can always reduce the clear coat a little bit too with urethane reducer, make it a little thinner, but not for anything that we're doing here or any bigger parts. You need to spray with a full size gun. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use the washer, and I'll use that to pin up this fender. Well, then I'll grab the camera, come back for you guys. All right.
P.S. Every parent in Charlie Brown sounds like that, they said.
Every parent does. Oh yeah, you're right. It's not just over
Not
the.
me. I don't know that show, but I'm just someone told you that.
Oh yeah, you don't like Charlie Brown.
Not really.
How do you not like Charlie Brown? I don't understand, but okay.
All right, grab your respirator and out in the door you go.
All right. I got my safety glasses
You're gonna
too.
have the glasses. I'm proud of you.
Okay.
Have fun, y'all.
All right. So you can see here, I just got it strung up to an eyelet that's up on the ceiling. That's into a truss. But here's a little bit of the damage that's on the tank that we're talking about. So once again, I'm going to do the body work once the epoxy is done and dry. I'll scuff it up, do the body work, and then put the primer surfacer over the top. So we have that. We have this tank over here. And we have the fender hanging up, so we're able to do both the top and the bottom. Because we need to be able to spray, obviously, on the inside of this raw fender as well. Okay, let's grab the paint gun. I will grab, what else do I need? Oh, I need my paint hose. So I'll be right back. Turn on that. Get ready to give something away. Let's put it in there. Get something away.
Well, it's gonna take a minute.
All right. Get something away.
It messed up, so I'm waiting for them to do it because when we went offline, there was no.
Okay, I'll put it. All right, let me go ahead and, like I talked about earlier, now that I have them up in the booth, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some glass cleaner. That'll take care of any other kind of sandy residue that's kind of sitting around on the surface, or any kind of waterborne contaminants that might be on there. Okay, I'll be using my 1.4 LiME paint gun. And we are, as you know, we've already mixed up the primer, 1-to-1 ratio with that. Part A, part B. And we'll go ahead and hook it up to the air pressure. So with these paint guns, there's not actually a regulator on there. You can buy a regulator. However, I just found it. You can just, mostly just listening to the PSI. And looking at your fan pattern, you can see And for the first coat, that's going to be fine. I'll go ahead and layer 3 coats, and the next one will be a little bit heavier. I always like to go a little lighter with the first coats, just in case if you happen to have any kind of contaminants. Obviously, we cleaned them pretty good, so really no problems there. So I'll just let that kind of tack up, move on to these other parts. Okay, as you can see, we got our first coat on there. It's actually already ready for another coat. We're good to go. I applied that so light and it's drying so fast. It's about, I don't know, it's almost 70 degrees in here. Good airflow. So I probably could have actually went a little bit heavier on that coat, but all's good. We'll go ahead and do 3 coats on that total because we do need to get full coverage to make sure that we get that sealed all the way up. But once again, we're not looking to build this up to take care of any imperfections or anything like that. We're basically just building it up to be able to seal up that metal. The next primer that we talked about earlier, that'll go on top, the primer surfacer, that will take care of any of those imperfections that we have that are still in the metal. If there's still curlicues in there, this will take care of it. But definitely that primer there is going to mild all that out and give it a really good solid surface for all the rest of your paint to lay on top of. It's getting a little warm. Woo. So we're going to go ahead and lime in the comments. We're good to go.
Someone said, is that just me or does that look like the Ghost Adventures guy right now?
I don't even know who that is. You gonna spin that wheel?
Rowan said, I'm anxious to see how you, let's see, it moved. I'm anxious to see how you handle not chasing the parts around once they're wet and can't touch them. Someone said, he totally does look like that guy. I'm new to this. Do you guys have a video on paint booth ideas?
We do have a blow-up paint booth that we did a review on. You can buy those for $600 or $700. Just make sure you get the elephant trunk attachment with that and the extra fan. But I do have a video on there. I think there's still a discount code as well.
All right, I think we can spin the wheel for the
Okay,
first
let's
time.
do it. And then we'll go ahead and put another couple coats on there.
And what are they winning? This is a surprise of your choice.
Yeah, it's a mystery pack.
Oh, okay, mystery pack.
You're gonna win a mystery pack. Oh, big winner, Big Jerry. Congratulations. we'll write your name down. You want to shoot us an email at info@limelinepaintsupply.com. And we just need to get your information and we'll get your mystery prize pack out. Who knows? Who knows what you get? Something good though.
Somebody said, let me see. Can you paint right after that? So we can go straight to paint after the epoxy?
If you do a wet on wet, you can actually go straight to paint. With custom paint, that's usually not the case. Very seldom do we actually do that. We would just wait for it to dry, scuff it down, get any. If there's maybe something that happened to fall into the epoxy, that we would be able to sand that smooth, and then straight to base coat. That's probably the way. That's the way I would recommend doing it. But yes, as long as you're following the directions, you do have a window of time to lay down your base coat over top of the epoxy without even having to scuff it down. And I think that's 1 hour, but it all depends on temperature. Remember, everything is at 73 degrees. So at 73 degrees, if you're at 83 degrees, things are going to move quite a bit faster. 93 degrees, even faster. 100 degrees, you're going to get into some issues. So, okay, let's jump back in there.
Hold on, there are a couple questions. After the high build, do you block sand? Also, do you use guide coat?
No, I don't use after the epoxy.
After the high build.
Oh, yes.
After
After
sand. Also, do you use guide coat?
Yes, both of those on the high build. Yep. So you use guide coat to be able to kind of see your low points. And then a hard block would be able to take care of any imperfections and ripples because it is a hard level block. And we'll go over that on the next episode because we will get into the high build primer. But for the epoxy primer, this is just meant to seal up the metal and create a very, very good bond with the surface. And when I say very good, there's probably not very many products that are better at adhering and protecting the metal as epoxy primer. So, but however, some of these high build primers, structured metal, are getting much better, and they still do the job. Okay, is that okay? I'm gonna head in there. Okay. All right, guys, let's put another coat on.
Try to photobomb me.
Ah,
Saw.
I'll give it a shot.
No one else saw, but I saw me. I'm like, hey, what are you doing?
Okay, now after looking at it, just right now, at that last coat, we're good with those two coats. Now there's no reason to put on more primer than actually what's needed. We have 100% coverage there. We're going to be putting on a lot more paint after this. So there's really no reason to be piling this up with more than we already have to, especially when it comes to the primers and stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and once it kind of vents out, we'll go ahead and take a look at them real quick. They're leveling out really nice. Once again, we'll just scuff them down and then move on to the next primer.
Somebody says, I love my full face respirator.
Yeah, especially the inside of those fenders. I don't know if you noticed, but when you spray the inside of those fenders, that kicks back at you so bad. Like, I was literally squinting my eyes, even though I had safety glasses on, because it was coming back at me. Yeah, definitely long sleeves, gloves, respirator, eyewear. You know, because this stuff is soaking into your skin, into your eyes. Full face is a better bet there with that small piece for sure. All right, let's go take a look at it real quick, and then we'll give it. Don't go anywhere because we're still giving away one more mystery pack prize from LiME. But let's go check this out. So as you can see, it smoothed out really good. Sealed up that metal. There still is obviously that big dent that's right there. Kind of hard to see right now with that angle, but oh, there you go. Kind of see it right there. So once this is dry, we're going to scuff this down. We're going to apply a little light coat of body filler on there, nothing crazy. Block sand it down, and then we're going to use the primer surfacer to take care of the rest. There may be a little imperfections here and there as well, and we'll also take care of that. But we're only going to lay down as much materials as we need, and we're looking pretty good just with where we're at right there. Same thing here, looking really good. We're all looking good with the rear fender there.
Do you ever apply a coating of something over the paint on the underside of the fenders?
Yeah, sometimes I do actually. I'll use like an undercoating, a rubberized undercoating. Works really good. Yeah, there's a lot of. You can use a texture coating. If it's raw metal, I would prefer just to paint it. A lot of the Harley, like if it's a stock Harley fender that's already painted black underneath, you really don't have to paint it. You just got to paint up and around the ledge and the edges. You need to make sure you paint the edges, but you also need to paint up and around at that edge.
So you don't spray the black on the underside of the fender or the back side of the gas tanks?
The black paint?
So you will not spray the black on the underside of the fender or back side of the gas tanks?
Yes, I will. I'll paint them completely.
Tony said, metal flake my first tank today. All LiME products, by the way. They worked great. However, it looks like I had a stripper party in my shop for all the glitter on the floor.
That's the best part.
Somebody said, I stand on the side opposite the direction I am spraying inside a fender. How long before you remove the tape?
The tape on the tank, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Once it's dry, would be like tomorrow morning.
Hey, you bombed me. Someone said they saw me.
Okay, we're all cleaned out there.
I'm currently trying to work at my own booth inside my home. Is there a reason you hang your parts from only one line?
No, you can hang them however you want. Just hang them. Just make sure you're screwing into like a piece of wood rather than drywall.
Do you wet sand either the epoxy primer or the high build primer, or only dry? And what do you clean it with? I've only been painting on plastic or carbon so far. Haven't had to prep metal yet.
I wet sand everything. I feel like wet sanding works better on just about everything. And then cleaning's the same thing: a wax and grease remover, and then also a waterborne cleaner, like a glass cleaner. Both of those come in really handy.
Sure wish I had some of that gun cleaner.
Yeah, the gun. What's that? The gun cleaner?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about
Sure wish I had some of that.
it? Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I'm trying to build up the hype around it. You know, that's it's all about the hype. You know, when it comes out, everybody's gonna want one. Okay, we got one more prize to give away. I had all 30.
Not the new hat. So you want me to spin the wheel?
Yeah, let's spin it.
Whoops. Let me see. I don't know what I'm doing. You're off. I get off for 2 weeks for being sick and surgery, and I can't figure out what I'm doing here. Whoa, it slowed for a second. Whoa.
Cody Spencer. I recognize that name. So I do. All right, congratulations. You have won info at LiMEpaintsupply.com, and within a week or so, you'll get a mystery pack. I'll get you something good. But anyways, any last questions, we'll go ahead and answer those. If you have any questions about the epoxy, how it works, once again, just to recap, these sandable primers, they do work straight over metal. So this is not the only method, but I'm telling you, this is a bulletproof method of making sure you have a really good base that's going to adhere good, and it's going to silk that metal, prevent it from corrosion, especially on frames, raw metal, anything that may have had corrosion on it already, because it's already there. It's already kind of penetrated that metal. You need something that's pretty gnarly on that, that's going to defend against that, and that's where the epoxy kind of comes in.
Is the epoxy available now?
Yes, epoxy is available in 2 quarts together, part A, part B, and then also the gallon pack, which is 4 quarts total.
Is vinyl for the stencils going to be restocked?
Yes, they will be soon.
Remove the tape. Someone found out I put a sticker over that camera. I thought it was pretty smart. It's a time warp sticker. So it's like I'm looking right at them. In front of me, behind me. How long on the gas tank panels?
Those hopefully will be pretty soon. They're kind of got put on the back burner because we've got a lot of stuff going on right now. We're going to be offering a lot more paint colors coming up as well, but tank panels will be will hopefully be soon to come. I know I say that a lot, so I'm sorry.
Do you know what kind of design you're going with yet on this bike?
You know what? I thought I did. I know it's going metal flake with candy paint. I'll have to go back and look through the text messages and see. I can't remember what we were doing exactly.
Adam, can I brush the leaf size on as well as airbrush?
Not on the water-based LiME glue. If you're gonna brush it on, you're gonna need an oil-based glue, a traditional style sizing glue.
I think that's it.
That's it. All right.
Easy night. Good for me. Oh wait, could I spray the epoxy primer with one of those cheap 1.4 Harbor Freight spray guns?
Yep. Absolutely. That'll work.
Epoxy is good stuff. I use on concrete. Also use it on skull bones, buffalo skull. Just got a 69 Triumph Bonneville, trying to decide if I'm going to chop it or stay stock. Any opinion?
Yeah, it's worth more stock probably, but that's not as fun.
Parrish said, "Did you see my brushed metal?"
I don't know. I can't remember if I seen that or not. I bet I don't know. So, if I haven't, then send it to me again.
Thanks, you two crazy kids. So when you fix the dent in the tank, and if you cut through the epoxy, do you have to respray epoxy?
No, not necessarily. In fact, you don't. The primer that we're using is still direct to metal, so you're going to get. It's still going to adhere to those couple of bare spots that you may have burned through. No big deal.
Parrish said he sent it on Instagram. The brushed metal.
Oh, I'll have to check that again. I think. Can't remember. Sorry. Go through a lot one day.
Okay. I
All right,
got it
everybody.
early morning. Yes. Have a great weekend, and everyone pray for the people in Florida. Yes, for sure.
All right. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Thanks for being
Appreciate
here,
the
guys.
support.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's good to be back. See you guys. Missed ya. See you next week. Bye.